This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, hi. So this is presentation 3 of mobile platforms. Shaban, 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 can you hear me? Can you hear my voice, Shaban, and see the screen, the presentation? Okay, let us go. Now, green aspects of mobile clouds. Introduction. Mobile cloud computing provide computing power and resources as a service to mobile devices users across the globe. So it provides, now when you want to provide to perform some computation online, you don't need to have the platform required, the hardware required, the storage required, the processing power required. Now the mobile cloud computing provide a way of accessing those online resources without um, bothering on the infrastructure, okay? Softwares, storage required for that processing. Okay, even if your mobile device is too small, you can access those cloud computing. This scheme was introduced as a mean to an end for customers worldwide, providing high performance at a cheaper cost. So you get high performance at a cheaper cost. Why? Because you don't need to purchase those expensive infrastructures. You don't need to pay maintenance fees. You don't need to pay installation fees. You don't need to do whatever. You only pay services provided as utility and you pay as you consume. This provision requires huge data centers, those clouds that is what we call data centers to be tightly coupled with the system. the increasing use of which yields heavy consumption of energy and huge emission of CO2. Now, this cloud infrastructure generates the emission of CO2, emits the CO2 gases and consume a lot of energy, electricity or whatever. So since energy has been a prime concern of late, this issue generated the importance of green cloud computing that provides techniques and algorithms to reduce energy wastage by incorporating its reuse. So the primary issue for in the ICT is the consumption. These infrastructures consume a lot of electricity, a lot of energy, and some machine generates the CO2, which pollute the sky. Now, that is the main issue which should be addressed. And so this is solved by inventing the use of the energy you consume. This infrastructure consumes the energy, and that energy can be reused. So it is the use of the concept of reusable energy. Okay. How do we call it in technical term? Renewable energy. Yes. So the renewable energy technology should be used so that this issue should be solved. For example, the energy from the wind, the energy from the solar, the energy from, so those reusable energies should be used because of the issue of consumption of a lot of electricity. So introduction to green mobile computing. We are continuing. In this presentation, we will focus on techniques to reduce the energy consumption and the CO2 emission that can cause serious health issues. The CO2 emission, provides serious health issues. So a lot of energy consumption, it is costly. So it consumes a lot of money. So how to solve this issue? It is the introduction of green cloud computing. Which provide means of consuming few energy and reduce the emission of CO2. So the technical foundations of cloud computing include service-oriented architecture. So cloud computing relies on service-oriented architecture, which means to provide everything as a service. It provides a platform as a service where you can program online. It provides software as a service where you can access application and use it. Then it provides infrastructure as a service. So cloud partners and could a vendor in the cloud value chain presentation will help you to understand green and mobile computing and the difference between green cloud computing and mobile cloud computing. It also defines the security issues and the solution methods to these issues. Even though there is a great concern in a community that computing can result in higher energy usage by the data centers. So this energy usage is concerning data centers, those cloud machines. The cloud computing has a green lining. So even if these data centers consume a lot of energy, it is possible to reduce the energy consumption by introducing the green cloud computing. There are several technologies and concepts employed by cloud providers to achieve better utilization and efficiency than traditional computing. So there are concepts cloud providers should employ to achieve better utilization and efficiency than traditional, better utilization of energy, better and efficiency utilization of energy than traditional computing. Therefore, comparatively lower carbon emission is expected in green cloud computing. So the purpose of green cloud computing is to reduce the CO2 which is emitted by those data centers, those cloud machines, and to reduce the amount of energy consumed by these machines, these data centers. So in cloud computing, due to high energy efficient infrastructure and reduction in the IT infrastructure except by maintenance, the key driver technology for energy efficient cloud is virtualization. So in green cloud computing, the purpose is to reduce the energy consumed by those machines. So as we need to reduce the energy consumed by those machines, so a key technology which should be employed so that the energy consumed should be reduced is the use of virtual machines, virtualization. So because a virtual machine is a replacement of another machine it will be used. Instead of using another machine, you employ a virtual one. For example, you have a server, a big server, which is being used, but you need another server. And yet, that server you are having is underutilized. It means you are using, for example, 30% of it. So instead of buying, because you need another server, instead of buying another server, you have to create a virtual server from the existing one. You have to create a virtual server which is used to handle other specific tasks. In that case, instead of buying another server which consumes another additional amount of energy, so you have to create a virtual server. So in that virtual server, because it is coming from the existing one, it will not consume additional electricity. So you understand that it is a very important approach to achieve this green cloud computing. So we have to reduce the energy consumed by using virtualization technique, which allows significant improvement of energy efficiency of cloud providers by influencing the economies of scale associated with the large number of organizations sharing the same infrastructure. Is one organization may be having those servers, and if there is another organization, maybe you can create servers instead of buying that another organization, instead of buying some new servers, they can access your servers by creating their own virtual servers. So virtualization as a key of greenness in mobile cloud. What is now let us understand deeply virtualization. Factorization is the process of presenting a logical grouping of subset of computing resource so that they can be accessed in a way that give benefits over the original configuration. So they are logical resources. They are not physical. They are logical resources, yet they operate as physical resources. Instead of buying new physical resources, you access virtual resources. So by creating these virtual machines from existing machine. So by consolidation of underutilized servers, so we have underutilized servers, underused servers. For example, a server is being used 20%. So, and you need another server to perform another task. So there is no need to buy another server, but you can create a logical server, a virtual server from an existing one. And so we have to consolidate and utilize servers in the form of multiple virtual machines sharing the same physical server at a higher utilization. Now, as you create many servers, you are improving the performance of the existing server because you are having the same a single physical server which can from which you can create 10 other virtual servers. So in this case, we are improving the performance of it. We are, it is now being used efficiently. It is giving, it is providing a high result. Yes, it is being nicely utilized and it is generating a lot of income because it is not being underutilized. Now we do this by consolidating the existing physical server and by creating additional virtual servers. So according to the Accenture report, they are following 4 key factors that have enabled cloud computing to lower energy usage and carbon emission from the ICT. Due to these cloud features, organizations can reduce carbon emission at least 30%. So carbon emission is reduced at least 30% of emission is reduced by user by moving their application to the cloud. These savings are driven by the high efficiency of large-scale cloud data centers. So virtualization remains the key current technology for energy efficient operation for servers in data centers. So virtualization, because we create virtual servers instead of buying new physical ones which emit additional CO2, carbon gas, and which consume additional electricity. So virtualization. So if you approach it, you you are benefiting in terms of money, and we are always benefiting in terms of greenness of the cloud. Because as additional machines are not emitting additional CO2, so we are achieving green cloud computing. Depending on users' needs and management decision, virtualized servers can be created, deleted, or moved or coped. Therefore, virtual machines reduce active hardware numbers by emulating physical environment. So the virtual machine reduce active physical hardware numbers by emulating the physical environment by replacing by doing what physical servers could be doing, using energy efficient virtual scheduling algorithms, improve resource utilization, load balancing, and negligible amount of energy could be saved. So, by using these virtual machines, we are improving resource utilization. We are achieving load balancing. Load balancing, which is a technology where we are having, for example, many servers, and if we have a big task, that big task, instead of delaying in a single machine, it is divided into subtasks, and those subtasks are sent into multiple machines, and those machines are finishing the big job quickly because there is a sharing of load. That is what we call load balancing. And the negligible amount of energy could be saved. And as we are using those virtual machines, the amount of electricity consumed should be reduced because a virtual machine consumes less than a physical one. So, despite the fact that when a software code designed and implemented by developers, so techniques and concepts are applied by cloud providers, leading to lower carbon emission and energy reduction in their IT infrastructure. So, as we are approaching this virtualization, so this as we are using this technique of virtualization, so we are achieving high utilization of resources. Okay, and then we are reducing the amount of carbon dioxide emitted to the sky, and energy reduction in the IT infrastructure. Although different technologies were applied, virtualization is still a key-driven technology that contributes to a significant improvement in the cloud data centers, energy efficient. So there are many technologies used to achieve this task. To reduce, for example, algorithms, we can do that by using programming, scheduling algorithms, which are used to reduce the amount of energy consumed. For example, we can design a software which track the portion of task which is not being used enough and should cancel or close it, for example. And only active software can be running. So as a computer or server is operating on multiple tasks, as it is consuming a lot of energy because it is operating, it is working hard, so it is consuming a lot of energy. So software can track those softwares open and which are not being used by the server, which are not needed by the server by now. And then we have to close those software. Then the server can in that by using that activity, the server can start reducing the amount of energy it is consuming. So, but that technique and others reduce a small amount of energy consumed. So the key technology which is used to improve or to reduce the amount of energy consumed, it is virtualization. That is why we always emphasize on virtualization in cloud computing, because it is the one which reduce a big percentage of energy consumed when we don't use the virtualization technique. So usually cloud data centers use generators to provide backup power, though they generate electricity to fulfill the power and cooling requirements of data centers. Renewable energy resource should be used, such as a wind, hydro, or solar energy, which saves energy and decrease the CO2 emission. So this electricity cause the production of CO2 emission, because this machine, hydro power machines, as they are operating, they generate the CO2. But we can use other techniques which don't generate this carbon dioxide. For example, the wind energy, the energy from the wind, from another example, the energy from the solar. So these renewable energy are used to save or to decrease the CO2 emitted. So we are continuing on virtualization. Virtualization is technology to generate virtual instances of computers. Virtual instances, other instances of computers from the physical one, from computer resources, from multiple uses of the same physical resources. So we are having the same physical resource and we are using it, we are creating multiple instances from it. And those virtual instances are emulating the task that could be done by physical resource. There are several virtualization technologies available that are capable of virtualizing the server storage. We can virtualize the storage networks and operating systems. Virtualization technology is known for easy to set up and in environment setup cost optimization with higher processing efficiency. The virtualization environment share the actual resource components such as memory, disk space, and network as separate resource group. So by using virtualization, we can create hardware, virtual servers, virtual memory, virtual storage, virtual network, and virtual operating system. Instead of buying new hardware and install new hardware which contain additional storage, additional RAM, additional operating system, which are costly, which are expensive. So now we can create virtual resources from existing physical resources. So virtual machines, the VM, are the popular use of hardware virtualization that are managed through hypervisor. How virtualization works. How virtualization works. This is a single physical machine with multiple virtual machines. Large companies with dozens and even hundreds of several user server virtualization to increase the operating effectiveness and consolidate the number of machines running. It can help business by making it possible to maintain fewer devices. So it helps the business by making it possible to maintain fewer devices instead of for a company, instead of buying several devices, hardware devices,